What's going on to all my YouTube buddies? So, I want to do a contest tonight, and tonight I want to do a contest entry for Steve Carlson. Steve is a very, very upbeat, positive guy. I love watching his videos. I haven't been subscribed very long, but every video I've seen of his, number one, like I say, he's funny, he's engaging, and great personality. Two, he shows a broad range of musical genres, which I like. And so, yeah, just a great channel. Glad to be subscribed. Glad to know you, man. And, yeah, so the name of his contest, and this is for 200 subs if I didn't mention that. So congratulations on the subs. And there'll be plenty more coming. But number two, he named the contest Don't Worry, Be Happy. Which, if you think about him and his upbeat attitude, is a very fitting contest for him to put on. So, it got me thinking. And I was thinking about what albums do I put on that get me in a good mood, that get me upbeat, positive. And I've come up with 5, and mostly I found that, 80s albums from some of my favorite 80s artists are really what kind of get me up and moving and happy, and it's a lot of times it's what I put on to clean the house. So I, usually just go through the house like on the weekend for a couple of hours and just clean it really, really good. And most of the time I put on something 80s, and a lot of the albums that I will play are in this stack. So let's get started, shall we? Now, number 1 is actually a record Steve showed, and I couldn't agree with him more about how he mentioned in here that this album, he's got friends who are metalheads. He's let them listen to the album. They enjoyed it. I couldn't agree more. It's the Waterboys, Fisherman's Blues. Now, the first time I heard Fisherman's Blues was actually from a cover done by an Irish band. I love Irish music. And it's an Irish band based out of, I want to say L.A., but I could be wrong. Anyways, the Young Dubliners did a cover of this. It's very, very good. If you haven't heard it, check it out. Young Dubliners, Fisherman's Blues. But the original is fantastic. It's a staple of my Irish-influenced music collection. And Fisherman's Blues is just one of the greatest folk-type songs you'll ever hear. But also, probably my favorite song on the album is In a Bang on the Ear, where the singer goes through, he sings this entire song about all of his exes, and it's fantastic. So, yeah, man. This album is really, really upbeat. There's a couple of sad ones in here, but I think that the album is arranged nicely. You might get a slower song, and then there's plenty of more upbeat tunes to kind of get you back up again on here. So, great, great album. The Waterboys, Fisherman's Blues. Alright, next we have Dexy's Midnight Runners. The first of a lot of, I won't say a lot, but a few 80s artists that I really, really dig. I've always enjoyed this album. Come On Eileen is definitely one of my favorite songs. It's one that when I hear it, I get up, I get moving, which is hard for me because I have narcolepsy. So, but this is one of those songs that still snaps me out of my foggy haze of sleep. So, but yeah, lots of good songs on here besides Come On Eileen. I like Celtic Soul Brothers on this, as well as hey, where'd it go? Jackie Wilson said, sorry. So, if you like 80s, I think that, and another Irish influenced band, I definitely think Dexy's Midnight Runners would be a good one for you to check out. Next, we have another 80s. Lionel Richie, Can't Slow Down. One of the penultimate albums of the 80s. So many hits on here. Can't Slow Down, All Night Long. All Night Long is my go-to song on here when I want to kind of feel good, get up and moving. But you also got Running with the Night on here. Hello. Can't Slow Down. Penny Lover. Stuck on You. This thing is like 80% hits. So, Lionel Richie. Really, really dig him and his body of work. And then, we'll just go ahead and finish out my 80s artists on here. Cyndi Lauper, I do not mind telling you that when Girls Just Want to Have Fun comes on, I'm up and I'm going and I'm singing along, I'm shouting, I'm having fun to this album. So, Cyndi Lauper, one of my absolute favorite artists from the 80s. Probably my favorite female artist. Her and Tina Turner are right up there together. But, yeah, time after time, when you were mine, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Money Changes Everything, All Through the Night. Yeah, I know time after time's a sad one. But you flip it over to side 2, right after time after time, and you got She Bop. So, dude, great album. And then finally, this is one that, unless you're in Canada, a lot of Americans don't really know this guy. But I actually went to Canada and met a lady back when I was in college who loved this guy, and she gave me a mixtape of him to bring back when I came back to the States. And that's Stompin' Tom Connors, man. Rest in peace, brother. He's been called a lot of things, man. Canada's Johnny Cash. But he does a lot of just these folky tunes about life in Canada and these really colorful characters like Big Joe Mupperall. And Sudbury Saturday Night is probably my favorite track on here. Bud the Spud from the Bright Red Mud. But so I'm gonna pick up some more of his albums, but just really fun Canadian folky type tunes. And he's called Stompin' Tom because while he plays, he stomps his foot for the rhythm, and usually we'll put it on like a board so it can be heard a little bit. So just a very unique character, great artist, and one of my favorite Canadian artists of all time. So that's it for my 5 albums that kind of get me up and going, get me in a good mood. And then part 2, as a bonus, he wanted you to talk about like kind of like how music or collecting music, how it affects you in a positive way. And I guess the biggest thing for me that is, no matter how crappy a week you had, or no matter what's going on in the world that might get you down, or government, or whatever the case may be, relationships, no matter what, you can always turn to music to give you a different outlook, hopefully a better one. There's some albums you probably don't want to listen to if you're depressed or having a bad week. The Wall from Pink Floyd being one. But yeah, just music can change your attitude. It can, and I know there was a recent thread started by Hannah, the Omaha introvert, recently. We talked about lyrics or music. Well, for me, it's both. But sometimes I turn to artists like Ron Adams or someone that I feel like I can really relate to. He writes songs, and there's other out there. It's just the first that comes to mind. But he writes songs, and there's other artists that you listen to it and you're like, I felt that way, or I feel that way now, and here's a way out of it. Or even if it's just catharsis, going through something. Sometimes you kind of have to go through an emotion to get better, if that makes sense. You can listen to music to help you get through, but sometimes you just have to go through it, and then music's kind of like the soundtrack to that experience. So like if you've been through something kind of, that's hurt you or tragic, for me, I look back and there's a soundtrack to that experience. There's albums I listen to, and certain songs or artists I turn to help me get through that period. So, and that kind of becomes the soundtrack. So, like the passing of my father, when he passed back in 2011, I was his caretaker, and I was listening to a lot of Death Cab for Cutie. And so there's certain songs that they have that reminds me now of that experience when I was going through that. And they really helped me get through that. So music is kind of like a healer in some cases, and if it can't heal you, it's just cathartic to be there for you when you're going through a hard time. It may not change things, but it'll help you get through that. So that's always been my positive experience with music, is that no matter what I'm going through, there's a soundtrack for it in my collection somewhere that I can turn to. So Anyway, I've rambled on enough about this. So again, congratulations. You're an awesome dude, and I hope wish you much more success with your channel, man. Whatever you want it to be, I hope it becomes that. I think it's already great, and I think you're fantastic. So anyway, thanks for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and ball out.